Check out the beautiful flowers. What's poppin', people? It's Dante, getting my morning started here in the Centennial Arboretum. Just going for a very brief morning walk here, and today I'm thinking about change and how to photograph change and why this matters and what it means to me, essentially. And so firstly, I want to talk about inspiration and why I find inspiration in nature. And so ultimately, I find that inspiration in nature is all about recognizing the divine creation and the most pure form of art being these flowers, these trees, these plants, and all of the things surrounding me in this beautiful green historic park, you know, where God created all of this beauty and we're here to behold it. And so I find that by surrounding myself around trees, I'm able to allow myself to not only perceive and see beautiful things, finding inspiration in it, but I'm allowing this fresh air to deepen within my lungs, giving me that breath of life. And I find that when you look at the word inspiration, inspirare meaning to breathe into, God breathed the spirit into you, into all of these living things around you. And I find that that fresh air, that breath of life, is the purest form of inspiration. And so firstly, I wanted to discuss this because nature is in flux. Nature is changing. These trees have been undergoing competition amongst each other, planting their roots deep into the ground, fighting for sunlight, extending their limbs upward. Look at how tall these beautiful trees are. This tree has probably been here for a freaking century. I mean, come on, look at how big this thing is. It's massive, you know, and the branches extended out there into the sky are seeking sunlight, striving upwards, and the shape of the branches echo the shapes of the arteries and the veins within my lungs and the different branches that carry the oxygen and nutrients throughout my body. You know, another interesting thought about the brain and the gut is the connection between the two and how they actually kind of look the same. If you look at an image of the gut, right? If you look at the large intestine, the brain, it kind of looks the same. And so actually the connection between your mind and your gut is most critical. And so through fasting, undergoing autophagy, replenishing dead cells, each and every day on the physiological level, I'm undergoing change. You know, when I'm lifting weights, I'm tearing microfibers, the muscles are growing, I'm becoming stronger. I find that through change, I find happiness. And I think change, it's not only happening within you, but all around you. And so as I'm photographing, I'm evoking change through the images I make, simply due to the fact that I've returned to the essence of photography, light, right? Photographing in black and white, I'm returning to the essence of the medium. Phos meaning light, graphe meaning writing or drawing. I'm drawing with light and using light not only as my medium, but the subject itself. For the way the light casts upon surfaces, people, places, and things will always be different and will never be the same. And through recognizing that change within light, I recognize that I can never make the same photograph twice. Like this river over here flowing endlessly, I too am undergoing change in a stream of becoming. And through snapshotting my way through life, by simply always having the camera with me and taking it for the ride, I'm evoking my personal journey through a visual diary of my day, embracing change through physically moving through the world. You know, for when I'm out here in the open world, walking and moving, I exist outside the passage of time. You know, the past, the future, these things aren't of my concern. What concerns me is being present in the moment. You know, this to me is the ultimate gift of life. And through photographing my way through life, I recognize, you know, I might not live forever, but at least I can make a photograph, right? And so if you consider your physical body as your soul, I find this to be an interesting thought experiment. And if you consider the soul as mortal, where your body dies and your soul dies with it, it allows you to embrace the moment with this sort of sacred quality where you champion your everyday life through vitality, through getting good sleep, eating good meat, walking, standing upright, and creating endlessly, you know, treating each day like it's your last. And maybe, just maybe, through photographing from our gut, right? Through photographing through our intuition and sort of letting go and not taking it so seriously, we can evoke an authentic photograph that reflects our soul in the images that we make. And this to me is my goal, but it derives through increasing my curiosity, And increasing curiosity is very simple. I simply wake up each morning and I treat it like a miniature birth, and each night like it's a miniature death. And then through recognizing each day as this finite timeline, I photograph throughout the day, and I'm affirming life and saying yes to life with each click of the shutter. And then maybe if we assume that our souls die and we don't live on with it, well, maybe our photographs, these reflections of our souls, can outlive us. And that to me is an empowering thought as an artist. It's a philosophical musing. It's not necessarily like something that you need to adopt, but it's just an idea, a thought experiment that I've been adopting as something that's empowering me as an artist. And so I think ultimately photographing change has everything to do with returning to day one each day. Think of a child. Endless growth, endless potential. You know, I remember when I was a little boy exploring in the Wissahickon forest in my backyard, building teepees with sticks, sharpening spears, attempting to hunt deer, climbing trees, exploring the unknown, all on my own. I remember building bridges with stones, just like the one over here that I built so that I can cross this stream, as that bridge is broken. And think of the child, fearless, courageous. You know, this trait of curiosity and courage, I believe, is what we should put at the forefront of our photography, where ultimately photography has nothing to do with photography, but photography has everything to do with the way in which you engage with humanity out there in the open world on the front lines of life. And so what that means is, if you wake up in the morning like a child again each and every day, you'll have this exuberance for life, simply eager to go out there and embrace the spirit of play. And through a child's play, it happens voluntarily. A child will wake up in the morning and want to go out there to the park or go to the playground and simply play. But as we get older, societal norms kind of crush that inner childlike spirit within us, and we force ourselves to play. We dread the sound of the alarm in the morning to get our things together, to go to work. But when we go out there with our camera, we voluntarily photograph for the sake of it, approaching photography with the autotelic approach, where we simply make photographs because we love making photographs, and we're detached from the outcome, we're detached from the result, we're detached from validation for our work, and we simply embrace our curiosity. We embrace change, and we hope to evoke our soul in the photographs we make through embracing change, through evolving and growing each day, through returning to day one. And I think that's what this is all about. This to me is the philosophy of flux and change in photography that has been empowering me on my journey. I highly encourage you to give it a try, to think about how you can shift your mind from this sort of narrow perspective of what photography or what life is to perhaps what life could be. Through photography, you can transcend reality. You know, when I'm looking at life with the back of my LCD screen cranked to the max with high contrast black and white, you know, I feel like I've got an X-ray vision up to the world, and I'm seeing beyond the veil. And so if you're curious about my technique and my process and philosophy around photography, feel free to visit dantesisofo.com, where you can find on my Start Here page the ultimate guide to the Ricoh GR for street photography. I have an hour and 20-minute slideshow presentation where I bring you from start to finish for how I set up the camera, to the philosophy, mindset, technique, and everything in between for how I make pictures on the streets. I also recently created this downloadable PDF guide that you can put on your iPhone so that you can reference while you're going through the video. Yeah, I highly encourage you to check it out. And with that being said, embrace change, embrace flux. There's so much to do, to see, to explore, and to photograph. You just have to set your body in motion without preconceived notions of what you will find. And then through your curiosity and courage, maybe, just maybe, we can reflect our soul back in the photographs we make. And so my goal and my vision and my idea of the future great photographer is we become a vessel for the medium, right? There's no such thing as good or bad photographs anymore. We're not looking to cultivate a style. We're anti-style. You know, we're not looking to make a photograph that's recognizable. Oh, Dante made that. I don't care if I made the photo. Doesn't matter. We become vessels for the medium. We empty ourselves physically through fasting, through tapping into our gut and photographing the purest inner curiosity that we find through our intuition. And so through that act of making pictures, I believe then we can reflect the most authentic version of ourselves in the photographs we make. And this is just a beautiful thought, a beautiful thing that I'm just eager to share, because I think we need to think more about the philosophy of how and why we're photographing more than the technique and the ability for a photographer to create a compelling image, because these ideas are very base at best. You know, making your own signature style is kind of base. You know, the future photographer no longer cares about recognition, but we simply become a vessel for the medium of photography, photographing purely through our intuition. And this to me is where the juice, this to me is where the beauty of photography can perhaps provide more meaning in our life. And maybe this can be something empowering for you as it has been for me. Yeah, I seek to become a vessel for the medium. I'm just there and prepared with my camera, and I'm just photographing my way through life. And the life affirmation that you feel through photography is simple. We're no longer on the hunt for our next best photo, but we simply affirm that our next photo is our best photo, because we're embracing change. We're embracing the spirit of flux.